How's it going, everyone? I apologize. I meant to upload this video a lot sooner. There've definitely been a lot of updates. If you guys saw the comment that I made about a week or so ago, there's a little bit of an update with the radiologist. I'll just rewind that whole story. So basically, about a month ago, I got my CBCT results back. They didn't quite have the measurements that I wanted. They did not indicate anything about forward growth. In fact, some of the measurements were actually completely different as the measurements that were taken for my first CBCT, which I feel like that would be a bare minimum to just get the measurements, the same measurements, keep it consistent. But they didn't do that. So right off the bat, I'm just going to say if you plan on getting MSE, and especially face mask, you really need to make sure that the radiologist your orthodontist uses has experience and knows like what we're trying to do with expanding the airway and creating forward growth, because they didn't do the forward measurements. My orthodontist basically spent weeks trying to communicate with them to have them redo the data, and then they said they did overlays, which I thought would be what we wanted, but they charged an extra $90 for that on top of the basically $300 that they charged for just getting the regular CBCT. Or 300, I think. One was for the scan itself, and then I think it was like 200 or so for getting the analysis, which, as I mentioned, was not satisfactory at all. And it was just really disappointing because I had been holding out for getting these measurements, and that was my main motivation for doing the face mask every day for 16 hours. And I just really needed that reinforcement to know that what I was doing actually was paying off. But I didn't get that. And from what we did see of the CBT, I'll go over the pictures in a bit. But my orthodontist estimated that I had maybe 0.25 millimeters of forward growth maximum, which didn't sound great, but I still wanted to hold out to see if we would get any objective measurements. But as of today, I still have not gotten any, even though I paid the extra $90. Of course, my orthodontist is great overall. Like, we've made a lot of progress, but I just wish she chose a better radiologist. And the radiologist had more experience with measuring this kind of stuff. Overall, though, I would still say that I'm satisfied with having MSE. I think it's better that I did MSE than I didn't, because I definitely feel like I can breathe a lot better through my nose. And you'll see in a second. Let's just go through the CBCT scans now. So this first picture, I took all the ones that seemed useful. There were a couple others that were in one scan, but then the previous scan back in January, they weren't in that. So there were some inconsistencies that I just took out of these pictures. But anyway, so here's the before. As you can see, my cheekbones here really widened. In fact, I would say that's probably the biggest visual difference is my cheekbones definitely look more pronounced, straight on, just because they got wider. So as you can see, 115.59 to 119.9, so that's a lot. And then here we also have some expansion. And then another thing, the biggest difference that I felt is right here in my nasal passages, 20 to 25 millimeters basically. And that's, of course, I don't know, based on the rest of the quality of the scan, I'm not sure if this is taken at the same, I guess, depth, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was over 5 millimeters of expansion here. So that's the biggest benefit I've noticed. And then here's my palate from the top. It looks like, I'm not sure if this is the left or right, but it's a little bit uneven, although I haven't noticed any significant asymmetry. So happy about that. And then here's my airway. I'm not really sure what this unit is, but total airway volume basically doubled, which I'm really happy about. And again, that's something that I can feel in my athletic performance, and I get less out of breath. I found myself jogging the other day just to get where I need to go faster. And I used to hate jogging because it just felt like suffering all the time. But a couple weeks ago when I tried it for the first time in basically years, I felt okay, I could handle it. That was a really nice benefit. And as you can see before, there were some parts of my airway that were in the red. Now it's all green and above. So really happy about that. Again, I know at first I made it sound super negative, I really couldn't tell if I got any forward growth or anything, but I know that I got a lot of lateral growth, which I'm happy about. All right, and then here's the, I guess, front on view. And this is what I was talking about, where they didn't really take consistent measurements. This is from January, and then this was from March. I wish they had like actually measured here like they did. This, I'm pretty sure this is my intermolar width. Didn't measure it here. Again, disappointed about that. But like I said, just make sure if you do this that you have a good radiologist and you've seen like some of their work and they're qualified and have a lot of experience with MSE and Facemask. And then here's another side view. This one, I feel like it might have been the position of my jaw here, what's causing the discrepancy in measurements, because it is, this measurement got larger, but then these two got smaller. By the way, just so you know, like all of these, left is before, right is after, just to make that clear. Because these two were taken in the office, and I thought the lighting would be perfect, but it seemed like the lighting was a bit different, unfortunately. Here the lighting's about the same. This one was right after my lip tie release, which was actually last summer. So my lip looks a bit smaller there just because of the healing process. I did a sleep test. I don't have the results with me on hand, but my efficiency, because I took a sleep ring test before and after the expansion, and my efficiency increased in the after, but some of my other metrics decreased, which my orthodontist believes that's because the MSE was on the roof of my mouth and it prevented my tongue from staying in the position, which would mean that I would likely open my mouth when I'm sleeping. Although I'm planning to start mouth taping just to try to fix that, or make sure there's no chance of that happening. I plan going forward, I'm definitely done with the face mask at this point, just because I feel like 0.25 millimeters in 2 months is fairly slow. My orthodontist wanted me to only do 8 months with the face mask, and I agreed with that at first just because like I wanted to kind of get on with my life, and most of the health benefits I feel like I've already reaped from the lateral expansion. I don't know like what marginal increase I would get from the face mask at this point. Like, to sum it up with the face mask, I mean, I was willing to do it, like as long as I knew that I would have some kind of objective feedback to know that it's working, because like willpower is a consumable resource, and I definitely used up all of my willpower before I was able to get those objective measurements, which I still haven't gotten. I feel like my appearance has improved, and I'm fine with what I have now. And at this point, like the only thing face mask would really help with is aesthetics, and I don't want to like waste or like really use up my early 20s wearing the face mask, because it could potentially be like a year that I'd have to be wearing it. 8 months to a year, most of a year at least. And the face mask is like, that's something that you really have to have like a year or so of focus. And I've like improved my health in so many ways already. I don't feel that the face mask be worth it for all the time that I'm sacrificing for it, if that makes sense. But yeah, my plan going forward is get the Invisalign, and then obviously practice mewing and general good habits. I know JawHacks recently uploaded the talk that we had, which I thought was very informative. It's good talking to him. And I also mentioned Right Sleep, which is the kind of sleep optimization protocol that I'm using. That's like supplementing the kind of anatomical changes that I'm going through to improve my sleep. So you could look that up. Dr. Stasha Gomanak is her name. If you didn't see the interview that I had with JawHacks, that's the neurologist that came up with Right Sleep. I highly recommend it, as that's probably done the most to improve my sleep besides MSE. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on more now that I'm done with expansion and everything for MSE. But that is pretty much it. Going forward, I might upload videos if something big comes up relating to my like orthodontic journey, or if you guys have a lot of questions, it would be easier to film in a video. Otherwise, we'll just try to answer questions via comments. Besides that, thank you guys for sticking with this journey, and I'm glad that I can like answer questions about my own experience, and it's been a pleasure seeing all of your comments and hearing your support, so I appreciate that a lot. And without further ado, I'll see you guys later.